They set up their equipment, radios, cameras, sniper rifles, everything they needed to watch the village and report on Shah's movements. June 28, 2005. 4 Navy SEALs were inserted into the mountains of Afghanistan. Only one would survive. The mission was called Operation Red Wings. Hunt down a Taliban commander named Ahmad Shah. Intelligence said he had 150 fighters in the mountains.
4 SEALs from SEAL Team 10 would insert by helicopter. Their call sign, Team 5. Their mission, reconnaissance and surveillance. The flight took them deep into Taliban territory, the Kunar Province, some of the most dangerous terrain in Afghanistan.
Their landing zone was on Sautalosar Mountain. Steep, rocky, covered in trees, perfect hiding places for the enemy. The terrain was too steep for a proper landing. The SEALs would have to jump from the hovering helicopter. The Chinook left immediately. The 4 SEALs were alone, miles from any support, deep in enemy territory.
They began the climb to their observation post. 3 miles, straight up, in full gear, in enemy territory.
They moved slowly, carefully. Every sound could give them away. Every step could start a rock slide. After hours of climbing, they reached the observation post, a rocky outcrop overlooking the valley. They could see for miles. Below them was the village where Ahmad Shah was hiding, the Taliban commander they came to find. They set up their equipment, radios, cameras, sniper rifles, everything they needed to watch the village and report on Shah's movements. They watched and waited. This was supposed to be a 3-day mission. They would observe, report, and extract. Hours passed. They took turns on watch, conserving energy, staying hidden, professional operators doing what they do best.
Then, disaster. 3 Afghan goat herders walked straight toward their position. The goats walked right through their position. The herders were right behind. The SEALs had been discovered. The herders saw them. There was no hiding now. 4 heavily armed Americans in their mountains.
The SEALs came out of hiding. The herders were terrified, but they were just farmers. But the SEALs had a decision to make. Kill the herders, or let them go. If they let them go, the Taliban would know their position within hours.
The rules of engagement were clear. These were civilians, unarmed. They couldn't just kill them. But releasing them meant...
Lieutenant Murphy made the decision. Let them go. They were Americans. They would follow the rules, even if it meant their deaths.
The herders ran, straight toward the village.
They called for extraction, but the mountains blocked their radio signal. They couldn't reach base. They were on their own.
They moved fast, but the terrain was brutal. Shale, loose rocks, cliffs. In the village, the herders told everyone.
Americans in the mountains, armed, watching.
Within minutes, Ahmad Shah knew.
Shah mobilized his fighters, dozens of them. They knew these mountains. They lived here. The Americans were prey now.
They came fast, moving through terrain they knew perfectly. They had the high ground, they had the numbers, and they were coming for blood.
The SEALs kept moving, looking for open ground where a helicopter could extract them. But the forest was too thick, the mountains too steep.
The Taliban reached the high ground first. They could see the Americans below. The SEALs were walking into an ambush.
The ambush hit. AK-47 fire from above. The SEALs were caught on the slope. No cover. Bullets everywhere.
They fought back, moving and shooting. But the Taliban had the advantage, shooting downhill. The SEALs had nowhere to hide.
They were surrounded, Taliban fighters everywhere. Above them, beside them, dozens of fighters, 4 SEALs.
The firefight lasted hours. The SEALs were running out of ammunition.
Running out of options.
But they never stopped fighting.
They had to move. The cliff was steep.
almost vertical. They jumped, fell.
Lieutenant Murphy knew their only chance was calling for help, but the radio didn't work. The mountains blocked the signal. He had to find open ground. The transcription should not be generated. Audio descriptions of male poisoning your radio. He made the call.
My men are taking heavy fire. We need immediate extraction.
He was shot while making the call.
Now there were two, Marcus Luttrell and Danny Dietz, both severely wounded, both nearly out of ammunition, but still fighting.
Murphy's call had gotten through. Help was coming. A quick 16 force on a Chinook hit.
Turbine 33. The Chinook carrying the rescue force. 16 more SEALs. Racing to save their brothers.
The Chinook flew straight toward the battle. No gunship escort, no reconnaissance, just straight in. Speed was everything.
The Taliban heard it coming. They were waiting, with RPGs ready. The Chinook was flying into a trap.
The Chinook approached the landing zone, surrounded by mountains. Perfect RPG range. The Taliban had clear shots from multiple positions.
More heroes dead. 8 SEALs from the rescue team. 8 elite Army Night Stalker aircrew.
The Taliban celebrated. They had shot down an American helicopter, killed 19 Americans total. It was a devastating victory for them.
He crawled for miles, days, drinking from streams, hiding. On the 3rd day, he could barely move. He had lost too much blood. His wounds were infected. He was dying.
Gulab invoked Pashtunwali, an ancient code. A guest must be protected at all costs. The villagers knew the Taliban would come, but Pashtunwali was absolute. Once they accepted Luttrell as a guest, they would die defending him.
The Taliban came that night. Dozens of them. Luttrell, the village elder, refused. The Taliban
The villagers stood their ground, armed with old rifles, facing Taliban with modern weapons.
The Taliban pulled back, but they didn't leave. They surrounded the village, watching, waiting, planning their assault.
At the U.S. base, they didn't know if any SEALs survived. Search and rescue team the mountains.
Gulab reached an American outpost. He told them through translators, "I have your man. He's alive." The reaction was immediate. Launch everything. Get him out, now! Before the Taliban attacks the village!
Apache gunships led the way, clearing any Taliban threats. Blackhawks right behind. This time, they weren't taking chances.
They came in force. Apaches circling, guns ready, Blackhawks landing. The Taliban scattered. They couldn't stop this. They carried him to the helicopter. 4 days of hell. 3 teammates dead. 16 more dead.
The helicopters lifted off, taking Marcus to safety. His war was over, but the memories would never leave.
Mohammed Gulab and his village had saved Luttrell's life, at great risk to themselves.
Luttrell's injuries were catastrophic. Broken back, shrapnel wounds, bullet wounds. But he survived.
19 funerals, 19 heroes. The entire SEAL community mourned. The nation mourned.
Danny Dietz,
Matthew Axelson.
and the 16 men of Turbine 33 all received the Navy Cross or other Valor Awards. All heroes.
Their families received folded flags and a nation's gratitude. Mohammed Gulab was forced to flee Afghanistan. The Taliban never forgave him for saving an American.
The SEALs learned from Operation Red Wings. New tactics, better communications, heavier support. The losses weren't in vain.
Today's SEALs have better radios, satellite communications. They can call for help from anywhere.
Because of what happened to Team 5. Because Murphy died making that call.
The mountains remain. Sautalosar, where 4 SEALs fought to their last breath. At Coronado, the SEAL training base, their names are engraved. Every SEAL candidate learns their story. The SEAL Trident, earned through hell, worn with pride. Murphy, Dietz, and Axelson wore it.
Marcus Luttrell wrote a book, Lone Survivor. He wanted the world to know what happened, who these men were, what they did.
The Navy named a destroyer after Michael Murphy, the USS Michael Murphy. It sails today. Operation Red Wings changed naval special warfare, changed how America fights. But most importantly,
June 28, Red Wings. American heroes.